Edit, I'm so looking forward to this conversation. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Wendy. Hi, everybody. Thank you for inviting me.
It's my pleasure. And I would love to start off by asking, how are you saying yes to yourself in this season?
Oh my God, I'm always saying yes to myself.
I love that about
I
you.
am, I am that kind of person. I don't call myself selfish because of that. I feel like, when I say yes to myself, I say yes to the universe because we are one with the divine, obviously. And then when I'm following my callings, I'm following my downloads, that's when I'm saying yes to myself and it's actually aligned with my blueprint, which was given by the universe. So that's why I don't feel like also like, oh, I guilt or shame about it.
Right. Which is why I want to have this conversation with you because I think conditionally, our conditioning has caused women to believe that a yes to us is a no to everybody else. And I love the way that you are framing your yes is just an outward extension of your internal alignment.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's actually what my kind of purpose, right? So it's divine, it's the divine purpose, which was created to support others as well. So it's absolutely no selfish thing or egoistic thing to following your own guidance or feelings.
Right. And how did you come to know what your purpose is? I mean, I think so many people are asking, like, what is happening right now? For a lot of people are asking that. And what is my role in this? And why am I here? And so what was that journey like for you to remember what your purpose is?
It's interesting because many people is looking for that purpose, but I always say that we have many purposes in life. And then whenever the stage you are at right now, that's your current purpose, you know? How you know it's really that kind of big purpose is like, is it making you feel fulfilled? As long as you are fulfilled and happy in what you're doing, that's your current purpose. And then you should be just enjoy it, right? But if it's already getting overwhelming, if it's already getting draining, if you feel unhappy, then you need to look for your next purpose. That's how I would say it. So, because within one lifetime, we have really long life, right? You can't stick to one thing. It's always changing. You are evolving. You are growing. You are changing. It would sound silly to stuck with one thing for a lifetime. So it's natural to actually feel called to do something else and then something else as you grow. If someone looks like really comfortable in one place for a very long time without evolving or growing, it's basically because they are not evolving and growing. They are kind of like stuck in time, kind of in their own bubble. And it's okay for some people. They might feel comfortable with that. But it's if they start to feel physical illnesses, if they start to have like physical signs in their body, that also could be a sign like you should move, you should do something to grow and evolve because something is wrong here. So might your mind saying like, oh, I'm good here, I'm okay here, but your body can show signs, that no, you need to evolve, you need to grow, you need to heal to the next level. You need to stretch yourself a bit, then you need to go through those healing processes, and find the solutions for your physical illnesses and blah blah blah. And then you eventually gonna see that, oh, maybe it's my current career or my current situation is what is draining my body or what is causing that illness, and then that's why I should move or grow and evolve.
Yes, and thank you for that. And I really do want to talk a little bit more about that because as you study and really immerse yourself in these ancient healing techniques, how do we so we are understanding sometimes that our body is showing dis-ease when we're not in alignment with our purpose or we're being called to the next purpose. What if you feel like you are living the life that you were meant to? You are obsessed with your big, beautiful, bold expression, and you're having physical ailments.
Hmm. That's an interesting to put.
Asking for a friend.
It could be that you still can go even farther. You still can be even happier. You still can bring this even in a bigger space. And because so your physical illness is still showing you have stuck energies to release. So
Okay.
after you would go those healing processes, you would release those stuck energies. You could even show on a much higher level of progress in everything in life. You never at your destination. So might you feel temporary like, oh, I'm so much in peace, I'm so much in calm, I enjoy what I'm doing, it's so cool. But these physical symptoms can show you that if you get rid of that, you can go to the next level and the next level, because every time there is a next level, where you can even feel much more aligned and much more happier and more in prosperity and abundance and whatever you wish for.
Thank you. And I appreciate that reframe because that is something that I'm experiencing. And my first reaction is, what is happening? Like, I'm doing the work. I am, and obviously, like, all those words say one thing and my vibration says another thing. I'm frustrated. Why in the world would I have this? I have this weird swelling in the back of my ankle. I guess it's edema. And
Mhm.
it's like, what in the world? So I'm getting out Louise
It's
Hay's book about heal your body. It's like, oh, you have to let go
Yeah, so I
of
can tell you
things.
something about ankle. Ankle
Yeah.
is related to your root chakra. So then you most likely have some root chakra blockages if it's an ankle. Anything which is like at your trunk, like at the bottom of your trunk, like at the root chakra area, and your legs is related to root chakra. So basically, it's related to your stability, security, foundations, even finances, and parents or ancestors. So
Mhm.
might there is something to heal either with relationship with your parents, might you had some connection with them which you need to heal, or you have something healing to do with your home, your stability, security, finances area, and that comes out on your ankle.
Thank you for that. I just think it's so fascinating. And I didn't grow up in an environment where conversations like this were happening. I mean, I grew up in church, so it was more like, oh, well, there's hidden sin in your life, which, just has you feeling guilty and probably more avoidant of any physical discomfort because you don't want it. Yeah, it just didn't feel safe. So I appreciate this information. It's new to me, and I'm really eager to learn more. I'm very curious about all of these things, and I'm very willing, obviously, to call myself out with a microphone just so that other people, I think it's easier to hear new ideas and truths that are new to our ears when we're listening through the filter of somebody else's issue or problem or question, because we're not in our own resistance when we're hearing the answer. And so I'm taking one for the team on this in asking you these questions because I want I want to be my highest and best. Like I said, my commitment to myself is real. I believe that I am doing the work. I am satisfied with what is, and I am eager for more. And I do want to expand. I do want to increase my impact and my reach. And I know that expansion requires me to bump up these against these growth edges. It's in Gay Hendricks' book, The Big Leap. He talks about this upper limit problem, and your life is wanting to get better and bigger for you, and you're bumping up against the ceiling, And once you can move through that resistance, your ceiling becomes your new floor. And then you have this whole new beautiful place to grow and expand to. So, how are you helping people with that?
I just want to bring an example. One of my clients, she was such an amazing soul. So she is such an amazing soul. So what happened with her? She knew me for years, right? But she just came like last year to me because she got an urgency. She just got a note from the doctor that might she's having a cancerian cells, So she was freaked out, obviously. Even though she already had some other struggles, they were not as urgent to actually reach out. She was still lingering in her own, liquids, whatever. So, like,
Right.
but she was like, oh, I can still hold on. But when this urgency appeared, she was like, okay, now I had to reach out to her and then, get some solutions. So then we started to work together. Like, I have this 30 days incubator program currently. So I offered one-on-one to my clients, and this 30 days incubator, we go deep into sessions, like 4 sessions in 30 days, when we go into the unconscious mind, releasing negative emotions from old memories, which are related with the current issues. And they also get access to my meditation library, where are other meditations as well, which is taking care of your karmic debts and then your ancestral karma and ancestral traumas. And then basically, there is also a video material, which is the life transformation system material, which is explaining them more about their multidimensional existence, about energies, about ancestors, all of this positive thinking, all of these questions, what they can come up with during this program. So basically, in these 30 days, we were working together, going into those issues, like, okay, being afraid of this cancer, also having relationship issues, also having like not feeling good enough, all of these things. And at the end of the 4 weeks, she said she's feeling already much lighter, more positive, feel much more in peace and harmony with the whole situation. And then she also returned back from the doctor with the good news that actually the cells were not cancerian. So the test was good. So we were
Amazing.
really happy. And then a couple of weeks later, I was looking at the social media, and she was like popped up everywhere, literally like so intense. And then she was opening a new podcast, like her own podcast. Then she was writing books, publishing books. And I was like, oh my God. I was texting her like, girl, what's going on with you? It's so awesome. And she was like, you are going on with me. So it means like the effect of these 30 days opened up a brand new creative channel for her, and then it's created for her a brand new life when she was like striving, creating all of this amazing. And then she's still there, she's still going strong, and it was last year. Like, it's she's motivated and consistent, and it's just amazing to see. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And so, what I hear you saying is that when we can stop and pause and realize something is happening here, and typically, like you said, she had some other symptoms that she wasn't really happy about, but they weren't big enough to make her say, okay, wait a minute, this is not what I want. And I think that's what happens are if we're experiencing something that is out of alignment and we don't do something about it, don't worry, it will get bigger. And then we will eventually do what we need to do. And so, first of all, just coming to that decision is a move in the right direction, right? Because it's shifting the vibration of her being in the question, being in the frustration, to being moving toward a solution, and knowing that she didn't necessarily have all the access to the skills inside of her, but she reached out to you, and then knowing what she knows about you and your availability also softened her vibration to be more in alignment with the solution. So then the work that you were doing together, she was more able to integrate because of this partnership that you have in that feels safe and restorative to her. Is
Yes,
that
I
how you
believe
feel
so.
that it went?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you helping people then? And what would you say to them, like in like you're focused on creating new habits, you're focused on healing, you're focused on using these ancient healing techniques. What do you see are common situations that are happening and what you've been able to help your clients move through?
Yeah, so the common issues they coming to me is usually grief or feeling lost in their current situation, feeling stuck, also divorce, like after divorce, finding themselves, also like with PTSD, many people coming to me with abuse backgrounds, like childhood abuse or rape or whatever happened to them. So it's the PTSD part. And then also there is some people who's coming with depression, so it's because of their environment or with their lifestyle or work situations, they get depressed and so on and so forth. So these are the common situations they coming to me. And I always offer that we work on the three parts, like the body, mind, spirit. So
Mm.
it's sometimes it's so interesting that when they got caught up on spirituality, some people, caught up on like spiritual healing, and then they forget about their body or their mind. So they are like, oh my God, I probably need to do some cord cuttings now, or I need to do some Reiki now because I'm actually feeling this and this. And I'm like, oh, maybe you just need some vitamin B or iron, or, you just need some more sleep. So I actually, when I work with them, I start with even with their customs, like with their habits about their eatings, like eating habits, what they consume, what they drink on a daily basis. Are they vegan, not vegan? So it's like all of this is connected to how they feel about themselves, how they react, how big is their symptoms, like in mental health, obviously. And then also with the mindset, like positive mindset, negative mindset is also very, it's like dealing with the healing. For example, when you do Reiki healing or energy healing on people, but you don't have the chance to talk to them, you just send the healing and you're like, okay, off you go. Sometimes it's like within a day they ruin it, the whole process. Because what happens is with energy healing, you actually clear their chakras, you balance their chakras, their energy body, they feel very uplifted and happy, for a while. But then they get into the same environment, they start to encounter with the same people, and they start to have the same reactions and the same thought patterns, assumptions, and they start throwing back the healing because they start to have negative emotions, the negative
Sure.
emotions which are blocking your chakras. So they start to feel again, betrayed and unhappy and sad and angry. So that's ruining back the chakras. So if we don't talk about it, like, you need to control your mind. You need to have positive thoughts. You shouldn't assume the negative all the time, or you should have conversations about situations with people so you don't assume. And then also, like, control your emotions. When you feel sad or angry, find a way to bring yourself back into the shiny, sunny side. Because all of these things, like this mindset situation, is can ruin your physical health. So to prevent physical diseases is starts with mindfulness, with able to controlling your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. And in karma yoga healing, we're also talking about the consequences of the actions in the mindfulness, like how you can actually stop your karmic patterns. Why is somebody? I had clients who were actually raped 3 times, so it wasn't a coincidence, it was a pattern which was came to her,
Mhm.
even though she went through once, two, 3 times, because it was kind of like a karmic pattern. And then how you stop patterns is again understanding the consequences of your own actions. How did you get into that situation? So you can actually stop patterns just by being mindful. But if you are, and this is really hard, people think mindfulness or being mindful is easy. No, it's one of the hardest things to reach that point that you can actually control your thoughts and control your emotions and actions. That's one of the hardest things. That's why we also have typical karmic depth release meditation, which means you've done already that karmic depths, you already done bad choices, either past life or this lifetime. And then if you do this meditation, it basically helps you to release that so you don't get the pattern, following. And then it's the same with ancestral karma, basically. And what I'm saying is that to make sure that you actually got the full benefits of this ancient wisdom, an ancient healing technique, karma yoga healing, or also called science of consciousness. That's why I have the full meditation library access as well, because they need to go through all of these. Like I always say that I want to turn all the stones. We don't leave stones unturned, basically. So we're not just working on your traumas. We're not just working on your past experiences, memories, releasing them. So you actually feel better and lighter, but we're also working with all the other avenues which can cause your or affect your current situation.
Sure. Thank you for that explanation. And I have a couple of questions within that. I would love for you to speak about meditation and what the parameters for that. I think that, it's something that I'm practicing, and it is sometimes comes more easily than others. Sometimes, for me, a guided meditation is helpful, which I understand is more like a visualization than a meditation. But can you just share why we should do this? Well, no one should do anything. Why we would want to do this, and what is actually happening in our physiology when we implement this practice.
All right. So first, I want to clear that belief that there is like one kind of meditation. Obviously, there are many, many thousands of ways you can meditate, right? And some people even meditate when they're swimming or jogging, or some people meditate, as you said, just sit down and listen or observe their body or observe their sensations or observe their environment. That's a kind of meditation, being an observer. But what I recommend meditation is, which I learned from my mentor, is the samadhi meditation. And it's an interesting thing you said about the guiding. So the first part of the meditation is guided because the guidance bring them into the state when the brain is in theta or delta brain waves, when the real meditation begins. So usually you don't meditate while you're listening to the guiding, you kind of meditate. And this situation, when you at the end of the guidance and you get into the transcendental state and you stay there, then you stay in that meditation state. So the guiding phase is just bringing you deeper and deeper and doing some healings. Like in the samadhi practice, basically, we go through first the chakras. So we also balance the chakras in that meditation. And then we also wake up the kundalini energies. And then we also going up and then even activate the eighth chakra. Why the eighth chakra needs to be activated is like, the people usually just go till the seventh, the crown chakra, but there is an eighth chakra, the soul star, which is important to activate if you want to work with your multidimensional existence, with past lives as well, and ancestral situations, stepping into your family unconscious or stepping into your past lives to heal. So then we need that connection. And then also activating the pineal gland. So why you activate the pineal gland is to get into the delta brainwaves, is getting to the transcendental state, and also to open your third eye, basically. And opening the third eye, so when you do this meditation, I can tell you, when I did this for the first time, I was invited to this event and I didn't even know where I was going, because they just said that, can you come to help us to translate? Because I was a freelancer, I had a lot of time. I was in Hungary at that time, so I'm from Hungary originally, but I speak English. So they were like, okay, come and help us to translate the guru, the mentor. And I was like, okay. So I just went there, and then I couldn't translate him when I was listening because he had really strong accent. And then I had no clue about the vocabulary of science of consciousness. And
Sure.
then the ladies who brought him in, they knew, of course, more about it because they were already under his mentorship. So they said eventually, like, okay, we're going to translate him, but then you can translate the materials, like the booklets or whatever. So before they sent me home to do that, I actually was able to sit through a meditation. And it was very powerful. It was amazing. I really felt it, that it was a very strong activation. I went really deep. And then after, he started to talk about mindfulness, which was again so aligned with my thinking patterns, so aligned with my how I wish things were, and I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. But then I left. And then in the coming days, I started to have more synchronicities, more serendipities. Like my blueprint started to like coming out like a vision, and then it was insane because this meditation opened up, the activation opened up my third eye, and the downloads were coming really fast, and my whole life was like forming in a completely different way. It was really interesting. And there was like sometimes even physical situations. Like for example, it was actually this like a couple of weeks later than this meditation. I was coming to London for an event, and I was in the taxi going from the airport to the hotel. And suddenly I started to cry in the taxi, and I was like, what's going on? Why I'm crying? And then a word came to me, home. I was flabbergasted, and I had no clue what's going on because I didn't like London that time. Back then, I didn't like this city. I thought it's crowded, I thought it's outdated, whatever. It was just like not my vibe that time. And I was like, what is happening? And then later, like weeks later, as things were unfolding, I was also doing some other translations. He was coming back, the mentor for other trainings. So I was doing also the translation of his healings, like the 2 hours healing, the source memory healing with clients. It was also an amazing experience seeing him to heal, one on one. And later I decided to take the course myself, like the basic and the advanced, and later other courses about ancestral healing and other courses about, manifestation, or other courses. I went even to Shiva retreat with him. So for like a 2, 3 years, I was following him like with different courses as I was growing with him and learning. But basically what I'm saying is like after that meditation and after having this incident in London in the taxi, like within 5 months, I moved to London, literally.
Gosh.
So and then I established my healing business. So it was like insane. So what I'm saying is that when I first introduce this meditation to my clients or to anybody, I always say um, that basically accept that your life is going to shift or change on a very interesting way because you open up some channels, basically. And I
Right.
always thought before that I was already spiritual. Like, I was a Reiki master. I was already doing spiritual healings and stuff like for 20 years, and I already was connected because I was always following my heart. I was always a yes man, like yes woman. So I always were rolling and flowing. And then this even happened. And after it was like, wow. So that was the point because with the Reiki Master stage, I thought like, oh, I'm at the top. I know everything, I don't need to go forward. I was actually very happy in my life. I had a great job. Everything was just great. And then I was like, I wasn't searching, so this just kind of find me out with the invitation. And that's what reminded me again that no, I'm never gonna stop learning. I'm never gonna stop growing in spiritual world as well. So I'm always looking for new spiritual techniques or new mentors or whatever is coming to me. Is I'm always actually interested now because I realize that it's a never ending growth.
Yes, I love that story. Thank you so much because I think it's the difference, your mindset shift. You weren't, like you said, you weren't looking, you were satisfied with what is. And there's such a difference between searching for the next thing from an energy of lack and recognizing that we're evolving and that there is always more, not because we're dissatisfied or trying to fill some void or in, again, in some form of lack, but really understanding, oh, I'm in this fast moving river and I don't have to, make sure that I'm paddling my oars in the right direction. I don't even need oars. I can just let go, and this river is going to guide me to what is next for me. And it's always for my best. It's always to my next highest version of myself, and trusting that is so thrilling.
Yeah, and then that's where the science comes in as well into our life. Like people are asking, like, how do I know if this is the right thing for me? Or how do I know I should do this, I should do that? There's gonna be signs. There is like angels, spirit guides, other higher dimension ancestors, like they come around and then they give you a sign, either with numbers, either with your spirit animals, either with certain situations, as I said, serendipities or synchronicities, or dreams. Sometimes in your dreams you get the sign. So it's really interesting. Like if you are able to tune into those signs, you recognize those signs, then you see the guidance all the time.
Yes. And to not second guess them. And you
Mm,
don't have to ask your friends if you think this is a legitimate sign. I mean, it's really deciding that you are not going to outsource your
mm,
power to anyone else. You're going to trust yourself that this particular yes to yourself is so personal and so deep, and our creator knows I'm I'm a God person, so God knows what's important to me. God knows that I giggle when I look at the time and it's 11:11 or 12:12 or 1:11 or 2:22. Like I get such a kick out of that, and my inner being knows that. And I constantly have the impulse to look at the clock when there is repeated numbers. I
mm,
often get repeated numbers on a receipt, or if I'm looking for what train I need to take and there's a train at 5:55, well, obviously that's the train I'm supposed to be on. And someone listening or, anyone in my sphere could think that that's silly. And it doesn't matter because it's not for them. It's for me. And I take delight in this manner of communication that I have with the divine. And I love that I get multiple opportunities a day to practice that because there are so many opportunities for a collection of numbers that are not random. They're All of the forces of the universe are working together to surprise and delight me. And I am a very fun person to surprise and delight because I'm looking for it and I twirl around when I find it. And I really don't, well, I almost said I don't care what anyone else thinks. Of course, I care about what other people think. Of course, I am impacted by what other people think. And so my practice is to not be around people that don't think like this. And if I run into them, I just don't talk about this stuff. But I'm not going to let some crabby person who's not happy with their life try to tell me that what I'm experiencing isn't real.
yeah, absolutely. And you know, you were talking about numbers, but I want to give even other kinds of examples which are even more fun. So, for example, I was going in a car, and then I was looking at a beautiful painting on a wall, and then it was like a big, big, big rainbow. And then I was like, oh my God, what a beautiful sign from my angels bringing me this rainbow in this situation. And then I was traveling with my daughter, and I was telling her, like, you know what would be a really good sign if they show me a peacock now, because peacock is my spirit animal. And then in that moment, when I actually said it to her, we were in a running car, literally. I looked out of the window and we passed by a big gate, and this was written with capital letters peacock on the gate. I was like, okay, I can't make this up. I'm like, all right, guys, all right, I can't make this up. Thank you for the sign. So that's how powerful it is. And there was another situation when I was and so this was like an angel kind of basically angel from angels or spirit guides, I would say. And there was another situation when I believed that it was my father. He passed away many years ago, and then I always feel that he comes back as a butterfly. So one day I was in the bus stop. I was hurrying somewhere, and I knew I'm gonna be late because the bus was late, you know. So then he appeared. I mean, the butterfly appeared, and then it was so fun because he was landing on my shoulder, and then he was landing on my other shoulder, and then he was landing on my cheeks like giving me kisses, like or something. And then he was off, and then he was like still circling. And then I've seen other people looking at me and smiling, like the butterflies just doing this thing on me. And then I felt so calm after that. I was like, okay, probably daddy's telling me everything is gonna be fine. And then I went to this place, and then I had this all of the situation going on. And then the end, I got an amazing results coming out, an unexpected lucky situation at the end of the whole process. And I was like, wow, I was even flabbergasted by that. So probably he was kind of arranging it, the situation, because the mindset or the what the person was promising first, and then how he changed his way of, the everything. It was outcome was very good for me, and then not for good for them. So it was like, I truly believe, that from the higher dimensions, either it is angels, spirit guides, or your ancestors, they are able to come into this 3D and manipulate anything, even people's minds,
Mhm.
actions, emotions, anything. So when we ask for something, or when we wishing for something, or they are come across like they helping you, supporting you, they can manipulate anything. I'm truly believing that.
I totally believe it also. And for people who are thinking, that would be really nice. I would really like to believe that. It it's my understanding, and please correct me if you have a different belief about this, but that to go from, I don't know about this stuff, straight to, if this is real, a butterfly will land on my cheek today, and I'm not even going to go outside. Like that's a quantum leap, right? So that's way too far from where they are in their mindset to being the receiver of this really beautiful aligned experience. So, how can we kind of baby step our way into just an awareness of what's already happening around us?
Yeah, it's you don't even need to go outside. Sometimes I just see very beautiful birds suddenly at my window who I never seen before, and then it's coming actually at when I start to practice a very powerful yoga practice. Like it's like opened up that energy portal, and then these birds appear. So basically, you can connect with your actions, with your thought patterns, some very strange occurrence, and then you can connect the two, like it's like a assurance from the other side that you are on the right path. I always say that these signs is usually what they represent is you are on the right path, you are safe, we are here, we are watching over you. That's it, that's the sign. It's like you don't need to overcomplicate it, like, oh, what does this number mean, what that number means, like if it's a 4, if it's a 7, if it's an 8. I'm just always saying like, okay, maybe it's, yeah, maybe 8 abundance, maybe 5 change, maybe 4 is angels, whatever. But most of the time it's just like an assurance that, yep, you are on the right path, you are doing right, and then we are watching over you, everything is gonna be fine, something like that. So
Right. Yes, agreed. And for me, I just, every time I see the numbers or anything that just takes my breath away, I just say thank you, because I feel like it's just this appreciation and gratitude and reminder of connection for me. And that's enough that I get that same message as you're saying, that I'm on the right path. I'm doing, this is good. And if it feels good, it is good. Like we don't have to question. Our emotions are actually our guiding system. And when we suppress our emotions or ignore them, that's when we are suffering from disease and our body starts to take on these ailments. So, not over explaining things, but just being open and available for surprise and delight.
yeah, and then the other thing is that sometimes when these signs comes, we think like, okay, then everything is going to turn out how I'm expecting. But it's not true, not always. So
Right.
we need to be flexible. So maybe the sign is just telling you that, yep, this is the direction you need to go. This is really cool. Just go on with it. But might is gonna be something different at the end. But we make sure that you get the positive outcome. But maybe it's different as you expected. So you still
Exactly.
to move on with it, but not having too much expectations, because expectations is leading to disappointment, right? And then learning also to detach from the outcome is similar way to say this, because we are so attached sometimes to people, to places, to outcomes, to situations, like how you expect it to appear into your life, but maybe it's gonna come on a completely different, outfit, and then maybe it's hard to recognize. That's when the science comes in and say to you like, oh, there, this is the one, this you should recognize it now, but then you shouldn't get still attached, to the outcome or whatever. Maybe it's temporary, everything is temporary. So
Mhm.
that's why we should be more in the flow, and then positive thinking, and believe that every experience is here for something. Maybe not for long term, maybe just for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, but it's still okay, because you had to go through that to learn from it or heal from it, because then you're gonna be better, or you're gonna attract better things. So it's they always say, my mentors, wherever I went, that manifestation is happening in sequences. So it's like, it's whenever as you grow, you getting better and better, you attracting better and better, and people around you are also shifting and changing, and you're gonna attract better and better people. So it's just how it is. So sometimes people is like, oh, should I leave this person behind, or should I leave this job behind, or because it's not that satisfying, or it's not, and then they got caught up on like being scared of the new, or being scared of being alone, or being scared of being without work for a month or two. That part, that time, actually what you are scared of, and then that space what you create by leaving behind the old and just being there for 1 month without work, or being there for 1 month without a relationship, that's the best time, because that's when you should surrender, that's when you should rest, recuperate, allowing just to be without guilt and shame, and just really be, and then allowing the universe to bring in the next best thing, you know?
Yes, because in that space of quieting your mind, of feeling restored, you're also fine tuning what it is that you want. And so you're becoming the vibrational match for this new thing that you want. And it's all, like you said, it doesn't end. There's no destination. So figuring out what we want and why we want it, and then being unattached, like you said, to the how, the what, the when, the what, well, not the what, sorry, the how, the who, the when, and the where. Like that's not our work. Our work is to
Yeah.
identify what we want and why we want it, and to not have that be, I want a cup and it has to be gray and it has to have a lid and it has to be 10 inches tall. Well, that
Yeah,
I'm gonna miss out on so many vessels of hydration if I think that's the only way that I can get what I want. And
mhm.
so, like you said, this time of surrender, we think that that means we're giving up what we want. If we surrender, we're giving up what we want, but we're giving up the resistance to it coming in a beautiful, more expansive way than we could have ever thought up on our own.
Yeah, because sometimes the resistance was creating the delays and creating the stuck energies, and then that's why you're not getting it, because you wanting it so much and you're thinking about it all the time, you're creating this resistance. But when you let it go and you are like, okay, I place myself into the palm of God, like I surrender, then basically that's when universe starts to create your magic. So yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I have loved this conversation. I love all the work that you're doing. Please tell everyone where they can find and follow you, how they can interact with your one-on-one work, with your books, all the things.
Yeah, so I have a website, which is my name, edithbkis.com. So they can find all my social channels from there to follow me. Also my YouTube channel. On my YouTube channel, there are already some meditations in my playlist, and some
Great.
some episodes of my release with these TV show which I did last year. And then basically when they want to interact with me on a Zoom, on a live events, and then also to learn more from my programs, then I invite them to my school community. So school community is skool.com. There are many communities there. My community called Release with Ease. So you can just search for Release with Ease or my name, Edith Bigis, and basically you are invited to the community for free. And then you have all kinds of options for spiritual growth, for the life transformation system course. And I have live events actually weekly where you can ask me questions or we do together like meditations, healings. There is also lots of recordings there. So it's a brand new life for you if you join.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's so generous of you. And what a robust platform for anyone just to enter into. That's really beautiful. Tell me a little bit about the TV show.
Yeah, so it was produced last year in 2025. I did 17 episodes and they are like 1 hour long episodes. And
Wow.
every episode is like the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes is about explaining about the thing, what I'm actually teaching about. And the second part is the real healing, like real meditations, real healing processes are there. So they are, so whoever is tuning into these episodes, they get out with a complete healing session basically. And then also a lot of explanation about the topic. So I did topics on relationship. I did topic on no, the Valentine's Day, for the Valentine's Day, I did that. And then also there is topic on panic healing, how you heal your panic attacks, basically PTSD, trauma healing. And also there is topics on ancestral healing, karma, many, many things like I can't even say.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much. And we will link everything down in the show notes so people can interact with all of these gorgeous resources. Thank you so much for your time, Edit. I love this conversation.
Thank you, Wendy. I really enjoyed it too.